Next, we have Max with Foodia. So Foodia is a really awesome site because it's sort of like Yelp for with food. So whenever I go to a restaurant, I always Yelp what are people writing about? Why is this restaurant so awesome? And I always order that food item. But you know, it's not as comprehensive as something like this. So I think this will be a great help for people like me. So Max.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, can everyone hear me? Okay, great. So, thank you, Nisha. Max from Foodia. Foodia is a simple solution to an increasingly complex problem, and it's a problem that I can guarantee everybody in this room has faced at some point, not just in their lives, but at some point in their days. In fact, experts estimate that the average American faces this problem 250 times every day. It's the problem of, what the hell am I going to get to eat, right? You might say, well, that's not a problem for me. Food is plentiful, food is cheap, and yes, that's true, but something called the menu effect takes place, and something called the menu effect is influencing your decisions as a consumer every day. It was very well described in a study from 10, 15 years ago. It was done by a Columbia professor and a professor from my alma mater, Stanford. What they did was they had a group of participants go to a market, and they told the participants, you have one goal, which is to buy some jam from the market. Two groups of participants, one had 6 choices of jam, the other had 24 choices of jam. Now, the conventional wisdom in the West is that the more choices you have, the better off you are as a consumer because you can find what you really want. What the study actually showed was that the group that had 24 choices of jam was less likely to buy jam and was more likely to be unhappy with their decision-making process. In other words, they were angry consumers. Now, the average supermarket has many more than 24 items. In fact, the average supermarket has 50,000 different SKUs. And so the problem that I think Foodia addresses, and the problem that it was designed to address, is what I like to think about as the 50,000 item menu effect. So what we do, the problem that we solve, is how to help you shop and eat better as consumers. We like to think of ourselves as the Yelp for your kitchen. It's a way of finding the great food products outside of restaurants. So whether you're looking for the healthiest cereal at the cereal aisle, or whether you're looking for the most sustainable grass-fed beef, or you're simply looking to find the cheese that's going to fit best at your dinner party, Foodia puts itself into that process and says, you as a consumer deserve a tool that helps make your life easier. Whether it's finding the cheapest items out there, finding the healthiest items out there, finding the items that are most convenient, or simply understanding what your friends are eating, knowing what your friends are recommending. That's the value that we want to bring. And I think it's actually very telling that 2 of the companies that are presented so far tonight are essentially user review sites. And it's sort of the direction we're going in as consumers. We're turning more to our peers. We're turning more to the community for user reviews and feedback. So it's no longer just Zagat's, or no longer just Michelin, or no longer Consumer Reports that are fully in charge of our opinions. They're not in charge of reviews anymore. Our friends are. So maybe I turn to my friend, again, who is a cheesemonger at Buy-Right up in San Francisco, and I say, what do you like the most? Or I turn to another friend that just had a dinner party and knows chocolate really well, and I say, what do you think I should get? And this sort of community-generated content, this user-generated content, is going to be extremely powerful moving forward in the food space, where you have supermarkets that sell 50,000 items, where you have superstores that sell 60, 70,000 items, where we as consumers are every day overloaded by the number of choices that we have. So I'll give you a little, I'll stop talking and give you a little rundown of how the site works. Again, it's organized exactly the same way Yelp is, so every food has a page. On the home page, this is the splash page for non-users, we can see what people are eating and how people are reviewing these things. So It's has anyone had an It's here before? Heck yeah. Well, there are a lot of people that haven't raised their hands, so when you go home tonight and you have a hankering for some cold, delicious ice cream, you can thank Foodia for giving you the idea to buy an It's It's a San Francisco tradition since 1928. It's basically 2 oatmeal cookies with ice cream in the middle. Basically, the review site works the same way other review sites work. It has 5 stars. It's been rated once, unfortunately, but we all know it's delicious. Let's go back to the homepage and see what else people are eating. This is cheating, actually, since it's me that gave this review. But I had this great barbecue sauce yesterday because it's 4th of July and all, and I had some chicken that I wanted to dress. Best barbecue sauce I've ever tasted. No exaggeration, no hyperbole. would not have known about it had my friend not recommended it to me. And so the favor I'm doing to this friend is putting it on Foodia, reviewing it, and now recommending it to others. And I can do this simply by reviewing it and then having it show up on the newest review feed on Foodia, or I can actually recommend it using a recommend feature to some of my friends. The idea, again, is that I, as a consumer, have some power. I, as a consumer, know what I like and know what my friends like. And I can help everyone shop and eat better. And that ultimately is the goal of Foodia, is to help the community shop and eat better by being a hub of food information, whether it's reviews, whether it's health information, whether it's information on where the producer is based and where they get their products from, etc. We're trying to be that hub of food information that can help each and every one of you eat better, shop better, and be happier.
Thank you. So another 5 minutes for Q&A, and if you could just remember to repeat the question.
Yeah, so for example, you have this barbecue sauce that you saw somebody post a review from. Does your site, are you mobile enabled, or is it strictly on the web?
Sure, so we have, the question was, are we mobile enabled or are we strictly on the web? We have a web app released right now, so you can access that at m.foodia.com,
Okay.
or you can check out the website at www.foodia.com.
So being web enabled, then are you able to geolocation where the mobile device is and say, hey, you can pick this sauce up at?
The difficulty with that is that it's incredibly hard to get markets on board. And geolocation with web apps, I'm not that conversant. It's still a little bit clunky for me. Working on a native app right now, which will allow us to integrate with various geolocation tools out there so that we as users can report, hey, I just found this barbecue sauce at the local market. So then everyone knows where I found it, and everyone can also know how much I paid for it, et cetera, et cetera. The idea being, let's create an app that allows users to give us good data.
So one of the things I'm really into is grass-fed beef.
Mm-hmm.
So who are you guys to tell me that this is the great grass-fed beef? What kind of rating system do you have for the people rating?
Sure. So the question was, what kind of rating system do we have for the people that are rating? And this is one of the big criticisms with Yelp, is that any Yahoo has the same voice, right? And you hear that from business owners, you also hear that from consumers. What we do, which I think is kind of interesting, is we take a sort of Reddit-style approach to people's reviews, to people's comments, to the links they're posting, etc. If you as a consumer think one review is incredibly powerful and incredibly useful, you can vote it up. If the entire community says these reviews aren't helpful, they can vote it down. And eventually that review, if it gets enough negative votes, gets kicked off. So useless reviews, biased reviews, reviews that clearly don't serve any purpose or function can eventually be removed and filtered out. So it's kind of an intelligent user-generated or user review gathering service in which it's sort of democratized, but you as the users are deciding what is and what is not fit for the community.
Do you take tastes into account? I'm sure a lot of the same community may have different tastes.
Sure.
One group of people has.
So the question is, do we take taste into account? And what I've been very careful to do has been to stay away from editorializing at Foodia. I don't want to be saying you all need to eat the way I do because look at me, I founded this company and I know how to eat. The idea behind Foodia is to say everybody has different tastes and preferences. Everybody likes different things. You should be able to use this app, whether again it's a native app that you're using or you're on the website, to find foods that you're going to like. So on the site we have a health score, which is a 0 to 100 heuristic for how healthy an item is going to be. It's not the be-all end-all of how healthy that item is, but it's a quick tool that you as a consumer can use if you care about healthful items.
What I meant is, let's say I know that there are 5 or 10 people in the same community have similar tastes.
Sure.
So I would like to sort, or see the reviews that were posted by people with the same taste.
Sure. So anytime you find a review or you find a product that someone has reviewed highly, you say, well, this person, I kind of like where they're going with this. You can follow them. And we have what we call the grapevine, which is basically a feed of activity from the people that you're following. So let's say you like the foods that I'm rating and reviewing, and you want to follow me. From then on out, you can check your grapevine and see what items I've rated and reviewed.
Okay.
So it's a way of socializing food. It's a way of socializing how you discover new options. In many ways, we are a social discovery engine for food. Go ahead.
How did you decide that wine was something similar to barbecue sauce?
That wine was something similar to barbecue sauce?
You had a list of similar items.
Oh, they put wine in their barbecue sauce. So there's,
Is the ingredients?
yeah. Well, no, there's a number of different elements. The similar item is based on what tags we attach, what attributes essentially we attach to those foods, keywords that appear in descriptions, keywords that appear in reviews repeated times. So similar items isn't just a list of barbecue sauces. It's foods that could potentially have some sort of relationship to these items. So it could be wine, it could be chocolate, since there was chocolate in that barbecue sauce as well. It could be chicken, that's particularly good to pair with it. Yeah.
Last question.
Go ahead.
How do you determine, as a user of your site, where, I mean, I don't need to know about something somebody got in Omaha.
Sure.
So how do I do that in your site?
Sure. Well, right now it's disaggregated. So the question was, by the way, how do you address the issue of there's certain items available in Omaha that aren't available in San Francisco? How do you make this relevant for everyone? It's disaggregated right now, so it's all product-centric. You know, we're not saying these are the items you can find at this market, and these items you can find here. The navigation is dependent on the products themselves. So if I live in China, and actually I think 10% of our users are in China, they can connect with products that they can find at whatever stores are in China.
You have a filtering mechanism on your site?
There is, yeah. So when you search for something, you can filter by health score, you can sort by health score, you can sort by ratings, you can filter by brand, you can filter by the tags that we use to attribute to these certain items. So you can filter out barbecue sauce and only see meat or only see cereal, whatever. The idea being there's millions of SKUs out there. There needs to be a powerful search mechanism that will get you to the SKU you're looking for. So eventually when we do, and this is part of the monetization question that no one has asked, strangely enough, working with markets to identify what products they're selling so that we can directly connect those markets or those brands or those purveyors with consumers. Saying, oh, you live in Omaha and you like these sorts of products. There's this one brand or one purveyor out there that's trying to connect with consumers like you. Oh, and by the way, they're selling here. So that's a service to both sides, to both parties, to the consumer and to the person that's trying to sell that item. Simply because we're connecting the two parties that need to connect, but because of the information asymmetries present in the food system, aren't able to. Because of the noise that's available in the food system, aren't able to. Okay.
Get a barcode scanner on the mobile app.
If there are any more questions, if we can just hold off, and if you can ask, Max is going to be here after all the demos, so you can ask then. But thank you very much. Great demo.